I am vengeance. I am El Cachorro. And welcome to the newest El Cachorro video, where we talk about the Batman. Shoot. I mean, it's kind of dark. We gotta hang out in darkness. Come on, man. Can I get some light? Okay, that's much better. Alright, so, I mean, we're talking about the Batman, so, yeah, I gotta wear, like, you know, the cowl. So, okay, you make it work. Alright, so, just got back from seeing the Batman, as you can see. I have my movie drink here still. Fountain Mountain Dew. Good stuff. Alright, so let's start with some non-spoiler stuff before we get into the spoiler stuff of the real. Overall, really liked the movie. There's a few things about it. But it was super, it was really well done. A lot of great acting. I loved a lot of the acting. Pattinson's Batman. I don't remember the dude playing Alfred. The guys you know, I can't remember their actors' names, but we have the Alfred and pre-Commissioner Gordon were probably the superb standouts of the whole thing. And everybody's talking about Catwoman. I thought she was okay. I think people were overblowing her performance a little too much, but I mean, she wasn't bad. The Riddler guy was so-so as well. Penguin was pretty good. Falcone was pretty good. So overall, acting in the movie was pretty solid. Say most of the movie is a dark, gritty detective story. Really dug that. Nice grounded effect. We'll get into some stuff with the spoilers on that as well. But solid movie. Everything looked good. Lots of awesome scenes in it. Lots of, the bat suit looked was really impressive. The early, I guess, because this is so we pretty much are early in his days as Batman. So he's kind of not a super fancy. You don't have all the super tech geared out. So you see the beginnings of stuff, like the beginning of his Batmobile and the early rendition of that, and that looked pretty damn. That was really cool. Some great action spots, some great detective stuff. A lot of solid stuff. A couple things that were about it. One thing I will probably go through. I can say now without spoilers, is the movie feels long. It feels the whatever 3 hours or whatever it is. It just goes on and on and on and on. I think they could have shortened it up some. There was some stuff in the meat of the movie they could have shortened out, and then the ending part could have probably been shortened as well. You probably could have cut a good half an hour or so out of the movie, and the movie still would have been fine. But it does feel very long while you're watching it. So that definitely is a knock on it. So. But still very good. I think I'm going to stick with my early reaction. I'm going to give it an 8. I'm going to give it a solid 8. I mean, if they, would trim the movie a little bit, that could have helped it a little bit. And there's some other itty bitty parts here that they could have done differently that would have made it a little bit. That may have bumped it up too. But yeah, solid 8. Definitely worth seeing. So for the non-spoiler part, there's pretty much where I guess we could wrap it up on the non-spoiler part. So we're going to go into spoilers. So you know, if you don't want spoilers, you know. Okay, now we go into spoilers. All right, so we don't but we sort of do, but we don't really get the. So we don't have to go through the whole kid, Wayne parents murder scene that everybody's tired. It's like the Wayne parents and Uncle Ben. People have seen it over and over again, or the origin story part. So we don't have to suffer through that. So we start off. He's already Batman. He's already known. He's in the city. So it starts off that he's making the name for himself, and he's starting to invoke fear in people and stuff like that. And we also start off the movie quickly with seeing the Riddler, and he's wearing this big funky outfit as well. They did take an interesting take on the Riddler. He's not the typical Riddler that you usually think of. The loud, riddle me this, and he's kind of like wears like this little outfit when he goes in and just leaves clues. It's super dark, so he doesn't really talk either when he's doing this. When you see him at first either, you will get that later in the movie though. So it was a different take on him. Kind of looks like they mixed a little bit of the Hush character in there or some too. But it wasn't bad. I still liked the take that they did there. And so we get there. So the Riddler's out going killing people and leaving these clues, and they're leading to this and this and that, and meet the Falcones in the mob club and all this stuff. Right, a lot of the mob bosses and all their higher Gotham people are hanging out at. And Catwoman comes in. We find out. So one of the things that I just felt like they were just trying to push her into the story a little bit was they made her, I guess, an illegitimate child of Falcone to give her a connection to him. Felt like that was probably just a little forced to make her part of the storyline. But so they already got the bat signal. He's already working with Gordon, who's not a commissioner yet. And they're a really really good team. The Batman and Gordon, start working on the stuff together, and all the other cops kind of, what are you doing bringing him in here? And Gordon's willing to work with, have Batman help him and stuff. So we got a really dark, deep detective stuff, and they're working on the clues, trying to find out who the Riddler's next victim is going to be, trying to break down solve the riddles. It's really good right there. So it's like really, it's like, all right, we're getting a grounded story here, and that flows really well, and I love that. I did love it. I love the theme that they came up, the Batman theme, the doom 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 doom. I love that little theme part that they gave him. That was awesome as well. As we go through the story, it unravels more and more. And it now connects back to Thomas Wayne. When he was running for mayor at one point and was starting this group project. I guess some reporter dude was trying to put out dirt on his family. Somehow he ends up making some deal with Falcone, and I guess this part was kind of getting a little muffled here, where they're just trying to bring Thomas Wayne into the mob, giving him some mob connections, and say that he wasn't a good, clean person. So that part of the story is starting to get a little muffled there, just so they could try and to bring it into the Wayne stuff. But it ends up being, if you find out that the Falcone is this big crime master lord. I mean, everybody knows I'm pretty sure I'm saying his name right. But we all know that he's, the big war, everywhere he's always been this big giant mob boss kind of thing. So we find out he's behind everything, and so it becomes a story about taking him down, which then leads to them finding the Riddlers, being able to catch the Riddler. So at this point is where we finally, get to see. They did a good job. That person head looked like a real nerdy, kind of dorky accountant type dude. And once they get the mask off and they start, the part where they catch him and he's arrested, now they're starting to, now he's starting to feel like the typical Riddler you're used to. Um, then we find so of this point, all right, we have some great detective stuff going on. We'll get some nitpicks. I'll have so pros and cons in here shortly. Then we find he has one big great plan left. I guess there's some like flood walls built up around to keep the water out of the city. So I guess it's obviously the downtown Gotham has got the lake and stuff around it. But I guess there's flood walls. So he has a bunch of bombs that then start go off and start flooding the downtown area, herding everybody into like the Gotham Square Gardens, where he has a bunch of people that secret henchmen that are ready to start shooting, just open up fire and just kill everybody. So this is where we went from detective story to now we're in big giant catastrophe extravaganza comic book movie thing. I mean, of course, Batman has to come in, take out all the henchmen to save the day and stuff. And gets a little help here and there from, but I mean, the flooding of Gotham. I mean, if you really look at it, like several thousand people just got killed. So this flood just came in, and people were, a lot of people would not have been able to seek shelter in time. So yeah, literally thousands and thousands of people just got killed in the movie. So it went from the detective to the high stakes kind of thing real quick. The big comic book. So I wonder if that was intended, or if that was like Warner Brothers like, hey, we're gotta have some catastrophic event, and it's a comic book movie. So I liked it, but I didn't like that at the same time because it felt like it just changed the whole. Like 80% of the movie's been this dark, gritty detective story, and now we just went into this big giant comic book extravaganza movie for the closing act. Where, like, now how you follow this up in sequels now? I mean, you just had the Riddler kill thousands upon thousands of people in this big attack. And now, what, you're going to bring in another villain who's going to have to top that? So, I think they kind of put themselves in a bind there. So, like I said, I like it, didn't like it at the same time, because I just felt that maybe it would have been a little over the top of what was needed in that scene. Maybe just have like the henchmen ready to open fire at the mayor's announcement party there that there was instead. It probably would have worked just as easily. And Batman come in and save the day. Or Batman would have saved the day from the bombs going off. Would have also been good too. I mean, that's supposed to be what he does. But, whatever. Deal with that. And then when he gets the whole thing where he's now switching from vengeance to hope. Fuck you, Superman. Batman is now hope. No. I mean, vengeance to justice. Cool. He's justice. Yeah, but hope, inspiring, and hope and stuff like that is... It's kind of Superman's thing, man. You just kind of just pooped all over Superman. So, wasn't too thrilled about that little closing line. Him and Catwoman say their goodbyes because he's married to the city. And then we have an ending that goes on and on and on. There was like 5 times I expected it to fade to black, and it didn't fade to black. It's like he does the big saving thing and he's helping people there. Okay, you could have possibly ended it there. And you like have him say, him and Selena have a little moment, and then it's like, oh, that's the end of the movie. Nope. Then you got to show them riding on bikes together, going to a spot, stopping, looking at each other, and then driving in each direction. Could have stopped the movie there. No, then you got to have him watching her in his rear view mirror as she's driving the other direction until she goes into the fog. And then we see the close up of him riding the bike, just a close up of his face here, and now we fade to black. So definitely could have trimmed some of that ending off because there's this way too that it just kept going on and on. And as well as you probably could have easily, there's some stuff in the story part that you probably could have trimmed off as well, trimmed to maybe like a half an hour off. We also get a scene right in this after the conclusion, and right as we're getting into after he does the hope line, saving people, helping them get on helicopter, med lifted out. So we see Riddler all upset in Arkham Asylum, and he starts getting talked to by another prisoner, who obviously is going to become, spoiler, the Joker, or is the Joker already? It kind of made it sound like he's a. Where the Joker's actually the one that drops the "riddle me this," which that's the other guy's line. So it kind of felt bad that the Joker was the one that brought that line. That I think should have been a post-credit scene. So you should have put that in the credits. So like I said, just work everything in there. So I definitely feel like they could have shortened the movie a little bit. They would have tightened it up a little more. So as we go, like I said, I love the acting. I loved a lot of this imagery, the detective story. The overall, still the plot was still pretty good, even if the ending did get big and mass murderish. It was still good. Just kind of changed the tone of the movie. So the acting was great. Batsuit looked great. So I mean, the movie was very solid. So when we get to the cons, like I said, it ran too long, and we talked about the change in the ending scene. The Riddler change was, kind of didn't feel like the Riddler, but it was still a good character. So it's kind of like that's just really nitpicky. And like I said, we forced in this Catwoman storyline, and she's wanting revenge and stuff, all this stuff, and so there's a little bit of that. There was the one point the police turn on Batman. He has to escape from the police department, and next thing you know, you see him, they're buddies again. He's working with the cops again. So I was like, okay, so weren't they just all trying to arrest Batman? But now they're not. Now we're cool again. So we did they do the Falcone was the one that murdered his parents. In the comic books, I am not quite sure who the canon murderer is at the moment. I know in everything else they kind of go back and forth. It was a Strug, it was Falcone, it was the Joker, before he was the Joker. So I know that's changed a ton of times. But it's so popular storyline. That is what that is. So no big gripe. That's not a big gripe though. I was just bringing that up because I haven't talked about it yet. The ever-going ending, the Hope, calling himself Hope, was I think that would be that's the only real con. So it wasn't, like I said, there wasn't much. It's really, it was a very good movie. It's just felt long, and didn't help the movie had like half an hour of trailers before too. Cool. There was a cool chase scene. A couple of some really good fight scenes. Thought I had something else I didn't like, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. So no. I think they overcomplicated the story a little bit, just to pad, just adding too much to it where they probably could have trimmed it out a little bit. I mean, the Riddler's big thing is he was an orphan that got forgotten and left behind, while everybody was too obsessed with orphan Bruce Wayne. And so I guess that's kind of what drove him to where he was. Is he lived in poverty in the renewal project, and to be, after Thomas was murdered, everyone took over the renewal project and used it as, as cover for criminal stuff. Did you keep up with the Batman not using guns? No, I'm trying to think if he killed anyone. I don't think he might. I don't believe he noticeably killed anyone. There may be a few incidental deaths that was not fully caused by him, but I think maybe some of the gunmen may have ended up shooting each other. So maybe they're alive. But Okay. I don't think like the having the big thing happen at the end where thousands of people in Gotham would, I mean, does it actually show? I mean, you see the flood waters and the Gotham downtown flooding and stuff like that, so you don't really see the people, but like you're watching it, like just like with Superman of Steel, you're like seeing them blow through up, they're shooting up buildings and destroying buildings. You're like, dude, they're just killing tons and tons of people right there. So I mean, it's not really a lot, not a lot of negatives I could find about this at all. So it was really well done, and I look forward to a sequel. And Pattinson's was amazing. Is a great Batman. He's a phenomenal Batman. So definitely interested to see where they go with the future of this storyline. See where hopefully we expand, maybe build this universe. I know the directors doesn't have much interest in bringing in other more goth, like Superman, Wonder Woman kind of characters. Cause he wants to, like you said, he wanted to keep it like a more grounded story universe. And when he had his first villain kill tons and tons of people. That's what you do. That's what the Joker's supposed to come in. He's supposed to be the crazy one that kills giant amount of people. The Riddler's more of like a smaller time guy, not a mass murdering kind of person. But yeah, like I said, I give it an 8. Super, super fun, super good to watch. I said like all the minor stuff against the movie is small stuff. I mean, outside the length of the beat is, like I said, is the biggest issue. I have to repeat that, and I keep repeating it to make this video longer to show that this is how it happens when you extend a video and make it even longer. Just kidding. Although I am making it long. Where we at right now? Over 20 minutes. So yeah, we probably need to wrap it up. But yeah, definitely worth a watch. It's definitely good. It's a really good movie. Best of this year, obviously, so far. Put that right on the list. Granted, I've only seen this in Uncharted in a theater. And which Uncharted, I thought was really good too. It was a really good fun movie. It was not a good Uncharted movie. It didn't really feel like the game, but it did feel like a really good adventure movie, treasure hunting movie. So I would definitely put this over that. And there's maybe some other movies I've missed out on that I probably need to catch up on. Couple horror movies, I think it was, and stuff. Obviously, we have Around the Corner for Doctor Strange is coming soon, so which has rumored so many people in. So we'll see if that can knock it off and take the top spot from the Batman. But right now, Batman has been the best movie of the year. Solid 8, very 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 good movie. Go see it if you haven't. And until next time, folks. Kachoro out.